Can Tivoli make the comeback? Can Montego make their first semi-final in years? And can Portmore finally take on the defending champs? All this and more on this quarterfinal leg 2 preview show. Yeah, people, welcome back to JPL Fan. It's do or die time as these 4 teams have one final deal for this season to see who makes it to the semi-final. We will start with a game that is on the knife edge, and that's Cavalier taking on Portmore United. No, I stated in the review show that what I saw of Portmore in that first half is some of the best stuff I've seen from them all season long, but that was kind of a bit of a disservice to them. They always has been a team that create a lot of chances this season, but as you can see in that first quarterfinal leg 1, they do have a problem of really asserting their dominance and take the game by the scruff of its neck. They really should have probably been out of sight from Cavalier before Cavalier got their equalizer, and again I was kind of disappointed how they approached the game in the second half. It's as if they just didn't want to take too much of a risk and probably worry a little bit too much about how good Cavalier are on the transition. With this game possibly being their last one of the season, I really would like to see them play a bit more without the handbrake like they did in the first 30 minutes of the first leg. Again, we would have Austin surprised us all by sticking to a 4-4-2, and the way it works so well, I think he should at least keep it at least for the first 30 minutes to see if Cavalier can adjust once again. Because in that system, both the fullbacks of Cavalier had a tough time dealing with the opposing wingers and the opposing fullbacks. It allowed the likes of Bembo, Robertson and Zimenez to truly shine, and also with the likes of Rose and Knight in the middle of the park, it freed up Guthrie and Brown to go seeking and press the game. So honestly, if I was Rudolph Austin, I would probably not change anything, at least for the first 30 minutes of the game. But goal scoring remained an issue. Guthrie and Brown did really well, especially both playing as a false number 9, but with Jeremy Lynch being available this Monday, maybe he's tempted to throw him in early to at least get them the early goal. But whatever he decides to do, he simply cannot have a repeat of that second half because I feel his Cavalier team is only just getting started. Speaking of Cavalier, I was really taken aback about how they approached the game in that first leg. I was really surprised they did not come out more swinging than that, as I truly believe they were a bit too flat. I guess they were adjusting to a new combination of players, as we have not seen the likes of Allen, Reed and Watson in that midfield together in quite some time, as well as playing without a true centre forward to lead the attack. And this is the area I want to zero in some more. I am not sure if Stein or Justin Dunn will be available this Monday, but if they were to be missing again, my advice to Rudolph Speed is that I would have used Jamal or Calvin as the centre forward and have him flanked by Writers and Dwayne Atkinson. It's really a strange one, as he really used Calvin a lot more as a centre forward last season, especially at times in the playoff last year, but he pulled a complete 180 this season as I hardly saw Calvin playing through the middle. Maybe this is finally time to draw that tactic out of his back pocket. I also believe this way they were able to have a more of a central point to hit those long balls too, and I also believe that Busy is much better picking up the second ball and going at the defense. But it will be also interesting to see if Portmore allowed them to have so much time on the ball and possession like we saw in the second half, and at that point, he will have to think how best to break down that Portmore rear guard. I would also like to see Speed change things up with substitution much earlier, especially if the game remain level going into the second half. I'm quite sure the likes of Chad James and Carolee Avery are just itching to come on and make a difference. As for predictions, my good friend MG Sports was spot on with his, and I was terribly wrong in both matches, and I must admit it's a bit tough to call this one because the game can swing depending on who got the first goal. If Portmore get the first goal, it's going to be very tough on Cavalier, and likewise, if Cavalier get the first goal, I don't think Portmore can make it back. So believe it or not, we may have our first extra time and even penalties on our hands. So I'm going to go with another 1-1 draw in regulation. But thankfully, things are a bit easier to read in terms of the second game of the night, where Montego will be taking on Tivoli Gardens again. I think Montego has got into the head of Tivoli after that first half, where a lot of things went their way, and of course, they had a slim margin going into the second leg. They have shown they can survive the Jerome Wade press, and with that, I'm quite sure the players will be fully confident going into the second leg. But I'll also be interested to see if they will push the envelope, knowing that they have the lead, and might just try invite Tivoli to come and try break them down. But based on the attacking substitution Tigard Davis made in that second half when he had the lead, I think he will feel more comfortable if he gets the early goal. So I don't expect them to change their approach too much, at least for the first 45 minutes. In terms of personnel, I honestly probably wouldn't have changed anything. Sure, Demar Phillips was a bit erratic and he could have easily got himself a red card, but if he believes this is how he's going to beat the press, I just don't see him can make any changes in that midfield. So I fully expect the same starting 11 to be out there at Sabina Park. As for Tivoli Girls, this is going to be a real major test for them to see if they can really change their tactics and take the game to Montego Bay and see if they can be the more aggressors. They have to be prepared for a reserve Montego Bay United, which means that they might be the ones who have majority of the possession and be the one tasked and break it down 2 banks of 4. Can they really do it? Do they really have that in their armory? They're so used to really getting majority of the goals with early pressing and turning the ball over early, but can they really be creative and conjure up chances from their build-up play? What will help, of course, they will have Lennox Russell back, and while Steve Clark did a good job in the first leg, I think they severely missed that direct dribbling approach from Russell to help free up space for the likes of Anthony Nelson. I expect that to be the only change into this match. Alright, in terms of predictions, boy, I think Tivoli is going to give it their all. They might even get 1 goal, but I think Montego Bay use the space awarded to them and get a goal on the counter. Now, this is the game I expect to also finish 1-1, which of course give Mobe the aggregate score to go to the semi-final. But I've been so wrong in that first leg, so let us see what happens here. But let me know in the comment section below your predictions for the 2 semi-finals tonight. But anyway, this is all I got for this small preview before the big matches at Sabina Park. Thank you all again for watching, and please like, subscribe and share as we keep this going up to May 23rd for the final. Otherwise, for great JPL content, you're already at the right place. JPL fan. You too, big up yourself.